What's up? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're going to be reading questions from Instagram. I did a question box on Instagram and had you guys ask me questions. I'm going to be pulling random questions and answering them. Oh, all right, first question. Montana Skies, when did you begin your journey and what kicked you into gear? So I do have a YouTube video that goes into my fitness journey. When I started, why I started, how I started. It is a little bit of an older YouTube video, but it tells the whole story into what I'm going into now. Continued it. But growing up, I was always an active child. My parents were all about us. Like, we were riding dirt bikes, we were riding horses, we were out fishing, hunting, camping. We were homeschooled as well. So a lot of our activities was like, you know, between being outside and we had to do home chores, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. She cooked all of our meals, so that's where the love of nutrition comes from. You know, I kind of went through, you know, my ups and downs in life. You know, I went through my first breakup ever. It was 5 years. Went through my first breakup. My dad passed away. I just went into a depression and I started just eating unhealthy, partying, and then I went to not eating because I was depressed, to kind of like just starving myself and just sleeping and just being a zombie. One day I just was like, I'm miserable. And I didn't want to be miserable anymore. The only way I was gonna get out of it is if I helped myself, and I needed to kick myself into gear. One thing I do remember is my counselor that I was seeing at the time, I'm not going to prescribe pills to you. You are going to work out because that is going to be your drug of choice. So I started working out, and that's when I started really getting into fitness and nutrition, because I wasn't eating at the time because I'm one of those emotional not eaters. That's where I ended up turning, you know, fitness and nutrition into a passion of mine and into a job now. But you can refer to that video. It's a good video. When are you going to have kids? Do you want to have children? If you guys missed my birth control video that I just posted a few weeks ago, yes, me and the husband want kids. I do want to be a mommy, and right now we're currently trying. So that pretty much answers the question. No, nothing so far, but I've only been about 6 months off birth control, so I know it's gonna take some time. And I think we want 2 kids, boy, girl, girl, boy, 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 girl, girl. If we end up having more than that, that's what's meant to be. So yes, bring me all the kids. Do you plan on modifying your workouts when you become preggers? Yes and no. So I still want to provide content for those who aren't pregnant. Those who still are just continuing their fitness or weight loss journey, muscle strength, whatever it is. But I'm also going to be having content for gonna be pregnant or pregnant moms, but it's gonna be one of those things is I obviously am going to be learning as I go. I'm gonna be educating myself as I go. So I won't be posting content until that time because I need to understand it first before I post. I'm not gonna just randomly post content. But yes, I'll have a little bit of both, and then of course so you guys can follow along my journey. So I'm super excited. It's gonna be something new and fun. Oh, this has been a question I've been wanting to address it. Botox, Dysport. So somebody asked, do you still use Dysport? Opinions, thoughts, have you had any side effects? I actually started using Dysport. So it's like, it's just a different brand, different form. It's not Botox, but it's still kind of the same. I don't know. The effects are different depending on the individuals. I tried Dysport and I tried Botox. I only started doing it about a year ago. The reason I did it, for one, I have a lot of my friends and doctors say it's preventative. And if you guys watch old videos, you do see I have a lot of wrinkles on my forehead. And when I went through my breakup, of course, in that time I was crying a lot. I was making ugly faces a lot. I'm also very expressionate with my face. If you guys have ever watched my videos of how expressionate I am. That being said, it was only progressing my fine lines and my wrinkles a lot quicker. You know, to each to own. If you don't want to do it, if you like your fine lines, wrinkles, you know, all the power to you. Those people who want a smoother face, who want to prevent the progression of wrinkles or fine lines, all the power to you. I think, you know, it goes off what you want for yourself. It's not opinions of anybody else or judgments of anybody else, what you want for yourself. And I personally, I like that. I like a smooth face and I feel it just brightens my face. It just, It just makes it glow so much more, and it's so much more smoother. I do between my forehead here, crow's feet here, here, and here. Just in my, and I go about every 3 months. So it's been a recent thing, but I absolutely love it. I love it. I love it. If you are thinking of getting it, my own personal opinion, it doesn't hurt to try it. And then if you don't like it, for you, you don't have to do it, but I love it. I absolutely love it. And I was anti for the longest time, and then one day I just decided, I was like, you know what, might as well just try it, see what happens, and now I'm obsessed. If there's anything aesthetically I want to spend my money on, it'll be that. Have I had any side effects? No. Between using Dysport and Botox, I feel like my experience, Botox wore off quicker with me, and Dysport lasted longer. That was just my experience with it, but you know, I have a pretty fast metabolism, and with me how active I am, it does wear off a lot quicker than probably most people. I love it, and I'm not ashamed of it at all. Ooh, this is a really good one. What is your biggest fear right now? I've been through a lot in life, and I'm always about facing things head on and working through them, growing from them, building strength and understanding things so I don't have fears. I remember answering that question and I said, no, I don't have any fears at all. But then I really sat down and thought about it. I'm like, no, I think I have some fears. So I had to really think about what my fears would be in life. My fear for myself, my health. Being stagnant, not being able to do things, not living my life. Not living my life to the fullest, just being fearful of everything and anything that I hold myself back. I restrict myself from things. So I think that's my biggest fear. Or even just health-wise, not taking care of myself so that at some point that I can't walk up and down stairs, or I can't do anything with my own children when I have kids. Just not being capable of doing things, because we have one life and we have the chance to live it to the fullest, and we have so many opportunities, so why not take advantage of it? So I think that's one of my biggest fears, letting myself deteriorate to the point where I can't do anything. Now granted, there might come injuries, you might get injuries doing things, but the way I look at it is if I have an injury, if I hurt my leg, something happens to my knee, maybe I can't do certain things anymore like I used to, I'm still gonna find a way to do something. I'm not gonna just stop everything just because I have an injury or I might not be able to do something again. I'm gonna find ways to still do something, to still live with a purpose. Hey, come here, come here, come. Oh, my lovely fucking boo boo boo. That was in my mouth. You licked my mouth. I live in Montana, you guys. I'm going on to my 3rd winter here. I love Montana. Pretty rural, depends on where you're at. Where I'm at, it's like yes and no. There's not a big city here. I don't like to disclose my exact location just because there's a lot of creepers out there, so that is why I'm not giving you guys my exact location. There are certain parts of Montana that are very rural. Like you go out and there's no Wi-Fi, there's no anything, there's no civilization in like 50, 100 miles. And then there's places that are very city. So you have like Helena or Billings or Butte, Missoula. I personally like kind of being out in the middle of nowhere where there's not a lot of civilization, because I love nature. I love getting outdoors and being able to just go, not be in concrete jungle. Montana summers are really short. I would say we really start to have summer in end of June, and July is usually our best month. And then July, August is like our summer months, and then we start getting weather, cold in September. Every year so far, it's been different each year, but we've had snow as early as September, we've had snow in October, November, and our winters are long. They're long, they're cold, they're dark. We don't have, sometimes we're blessed with some sunshine. I would say usually when the winters are kind of when you can start getting outside and the snow's about melted is usually about March, April. I love all seasons. No matter what season it is, I'm outdoors doing something. So winter sports, summer sports, fall, spring. So you guys, if you've followed me for a while, I do timber sled, which is the dirt bike. It's a snowmobile, but it's a dirt bike. This will be my third season using it now. Absolutely love it. And I've been riding dirt bikes since I was little. So out here, the mountains, I mean, the places you can go with that thing. Fun. And snowboard.
Beauty irresistible. I know she bad news, now you need to know.
I do a lot of snowboarding. This year I'm actually gonna try snowshoeing and some other winter sports that I've never done before, so I'm excited for that. Yes, I love Montana, I love the snow, I love everything about it. It's my vibe. I just feel like this is home. Like I literally just feel like I just fit in here. How do you always keep a smile on your face and such a great attitude? Tips on mental health. Well, first off, I'm not always in a great mood. I'm not always smiling. I'm not always like that. I have days where I'm tired, I feel unmotivated. There's days I'm irritated, or I might be facing my own personal struggles. And granted, the good always outweighs the bad, but it's human nature. It's part of life. We're gonna have struggles. We're gonna be facing different things. Now, it changes as you get older, as you evolve and grow through and go through life. Your struggles, the things that you're dealing with, that you're facing, they change. They change as you go through on your life path. What I personally found that has helped me have more good than bad, and how I'm able to really cope with things, and how I'm able to just keep a pretty great attitude, I would say 95% of the time, is when I am faced with something upsetting, or something pisses me off, or something happens that might, hurt me. I don't sit in that emotion for very long. I kind of sit and go, okay, yes, I acknowledge that I'm feeling whatever that emotion is, or whatever just happened, and I process it. And I think about it, I'm like, how did this even start? Why did it start? What was my part to play into that? And I look on both sides of things. I don't play victim. I don't say, oh my God, poor me. This is all about me, and you're the bad person, and point fingers at everybody else, or whatever the situation is. I look on both sides of it, and because we all, no matter who you are, we play a role in every situation. It's how you take it, and where you go with it from there, and learning from it and growing from it. So when things happen, I'm able to better process it and get things in the butt, and then being more optimistic about things. And when you start doing that more consistently and more often, you are in a better mood, because you aren't harboring those negative emotions. Because if we don't deal with them, we don't face with them, we don't learn from them, we don't heal from them and let them go, that's basically what your life is gonna be. It's just gonna always be negative, and it's gonna always be those negative emotions. So you are what you're constantly dwelling on, what you're constantly involving yourself in, your environment, and it's also creating a happy, peaceful, loving, positive environment as well. So if you're in a situation where you just know you're being dragged down, and you're upset all the time, and you're just no self-love, no confidence, and it's just stressful all the time, you need to do something about it. You need to change it. Also, being healthy, eating good, drinking water, getting sleep, and involving myself in things that I enjoy. So being active doesn't necessarily mean in the gym, but just being active, because it releases happy endorphins, and you're living life, you're living with a purpose. When we're constantly just maybe watching TV, we're eating like crap, and we're not doing anything, we're finding temporary ways to distract or forget what's going on in our lives, especially if they're upsetting, that's just gonna keep filling up, and it's eventually gonna eat you from the inside out. Eventually it's gonna bleed into everything around you, and you're creating your own suffering, and you're gonna be miserable. That's my tips on mental health, and it's just a practice, and it's not just because you get better at something means it's just gonna completely be better. That's it. You don't have to do any more work. There's always gonna be work on things. There's always gonna be something different, but it does get easier the more you practice it. Ooh. good one. Are you a morning person? How did you become one? No, I was not a morning person, ever. Ever. I blame it on my mom and when she birthed me. I was born at 7 o'clock at night. I'm a night owl. I could stay up until 1:30 in the morning, no problem, and I'm just go, 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 go. But when it's time to get up, I do struggle. I would say it's easier now than it used to be. Even back in the day when I was young, when my mom homeschooled us, you know, we had a certain time we had to get up in the morning, but it was like fighting. It was like pulling teeth trying to get us up, especially me, because I'm just not a morning person. I'd rather sleep, and I could sleep until 12 o'clock in the afternoon and be fine. As you get older, as you start adulting, you know, vary through the jobs. Like, you know, I used to work in a dental office. I had to be there by 7:45, get going and started in the morning. So usually I would be at the office at 7:30, setting up and getting everything turned on and going. So I would be up about 6 o'clock every morning. So obviously you have to be up because that's your job. Quit my dental job and started working at my gym at the time. I owned it with my ex. It was rough because I knew I could sleep in and no one could tell me yes, not to. I had that freedom, I had that flexibility to do so. But I knew if I allowed myself to sleep in, that was gonna become a habit, and then it was gonna interfere with what I wanted to accomplish in the day. I ended up started teaching boot camps at the gym. Boot camp started at 9:30, so I was, you know, I wanted to get my workout done first thing in the morning, so I would do my workout first, and obviously I'd have to be up early enough to do that. After the breakup, after leaving the gym, moving, you know, I kind of went through that transition period. I moved here to Montana and now I'm working from home, and then COVID happened and all those things where you're like, ah! I made it a habit that I needed to be up, still be up at 7:30 every morning. I get my workout done and then I do my clients, I work on my computer, I do videos, I edit, you know, I'm go, 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 go until about 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, and then I spend time with my husband when he's here, when he's not working out of town. Just habits. It's being consistent with something, setting a schedule, setting alarms, setting times, and staying with it. The more you do it, the easier it's gonna be because it becomes part of your routine. It's your pattern, it's your schedule, it becomes your lifestyle. So naturally now, you know, I go to bed about 11 o'clock at night, 11, 12, give or take. I still struggle with going to bed late, but I do get up at 7:30 every morning and I get my day started. I like getting up early, even though I don't have to, but I get a lot of done in the day. I get a lot accomplished versus if I didn't. You just gotta start doing it, and you just gotta make time, schedule, and keep going and stay consistent with it. The longer you do it, the easier it gets. What are your current Netflix or Hulu binge shows? It's a little fun fact about me is I don't watch a lot of TV. When I do, I kind of lose myself. It's kind of like when you don't give a child candy and they don't have candy for a long time, and then the first time they taste it, then they're like addicted and they're just like, ah, I want it, and they just can't get enough. That's kind of like me with TV. So because I don't watch it like hardly at all, I get sucked in and I could watch TV for hours and hours and hours and I'm just like zoned out. Part of it was because being homeschooled, growing up, my mom, we had limited TV time. Games, we had a Sega and PlayStation at the time, the first PlayStation, and it was reward time. So we had to get our schoolwork done, we had to get our house chores done, we had to play outside for X amount of time. Then we get an hour of TV time. Because we were always doing something outside, I actually preferred to be outside. I had a horse at the time, I had a dirt bike, so I did a lot of outdoor activities. So TV was never like my thing growing up. Yellowstone, we just watched all of those, absolutely loved the Yellowstone series. The other one was Sons of Anarchy. I'd never watched any of those till just recently, actually thanks to my husband. So we just watched all of those. Vikings is another one, and American Horror Story. I absolutely love anything comedy, action, sci-fi. Those are like my top picks when it comes to like movies. I don't usually choose a series or choose something on TV. Usually Nick does, and then I kind of follow along and watch it. We watch things together, so I never watch something without him. It's kind of like something we do together and we wait for each other. He is out of town working right now. He's gonna be out of town for 12 weeks. So he's been gone a week and I haven't even turned the TV on yet. So I've been just too busy doing other things. How do you build the confidence to just love your own body and stop comparing? Just stop. just stop. Stop looking at other people. Stop worrying about other people. Stop, wondering, what is that person gonna think of me? How is that person gonna accept me? Because what happens is when you start your life and everything about yourself off of the world, you lose yourself, because the world changes, the opinions changes, trends change, judgments change. Those are changing all the time. And if you're constantly trying to appease that and trying to meet that standard all the time, that's where you lose yourself. That's where you lose self-confidence, thinking, oh, like the only way I'm gonna be accepted is by being what I think that they want me to be. The problem is we need to stop wasting time and energy on trying to fit the standard, trying to fit the trends, and worrying about what other people think of us, because that leads to that lack of self-love, the lack of self-confidence, and where you do start comparing yourself. Just be you. Do you. Evolve yourself to the best version you can. Try different things, experiment, experience and discover and explore different things. And I think, in that process, you're gonna find what you love, what you love about yourself. Maybe there's a certain style that you wear and that's not the trend. Everybody else is doing this specific trend, but you're not fitting that trend. Who cares? I absolutely hate following the crowd, per se. So there's a fine line when it comes to that. I still do things that people do, but I try to find my own way, my own voice, my own method in that specific thing. That makes me feel good. Not following the trends, not following the crowd. I want to be different to a certain extent, if that makes sense. And that's where the confidence comes from, because if you're not following the crowd, you're not following the trends, and you're not worrying about what other people think of you, and that if you don't wear or look a certain way or act a certain way, that you're not going to be accepted. Because if people are not going to accept you and are not going to love you for who you are, you don't want them in your life anyway. I mean, that's the way I look at it, because then they don't really love you for you. They're loving like the fake, like fictitious you. So always be yourself. Stay true to yourself. All right, here's a good question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? P.S. I love you, and you always being your unapologetic self. Thank you. So I always like to look at longevity and long-term of things and setting myself up. Obviously, in 5 years, I'm hoping that we will have all of the kids that we want, and I will be a mama. I don't want to be social media to be my life 24/7. I would like to pull away a little bit more. I still want to do YouTube videos. I still want to do my app. I still want to do, stuff, but I don't want that to be like 100% of my time. Was gonna open a gym here in Montana, but after getting to know the area and looking at working with a broker, looking at different demographics and the competition, I guess to say, in our very, very small town, gym is not ideal. And being a previous gym owner, I know what goes into owning a business, especially in a small town. So I've been looking at different options of what I want to do, and you guys know NutriShop supplements has been a part of my life for about 6+ years now. And I did actually, in my old gym in California, I did run a NutriShop there too. So I would love to open a supplement shop, just a NutriShop here in my area. It's not about just supplements, about a pre-workout or a protein shake. It's also health, like vitamins. People always need those too. So having my own shop here would actually do really good. So that is my goal in the future, especially when the whole COVID thing calms down, because right now it's trying to open a small business is not gonna happen. So I'm actually just preparing and just getting everything kind of organized and ready for when that does happen. A marriage question. What's been the hardest part for both you and Nick on being newlyweds? Honestly, I don't think it's just the fact of being newlyweds. I think it's just bringing two people together who, obviously were raised differently, have different perspectives and the way you process things and how you handle things, and you both carry things from past lives of, it could be insecurities or the way you do something. You could be an OCD, you could be a messy person. There's a combination of things that make up a person. And then when you bring two people together, obviously you're gonna butt heads with a few things in general in relationships. You marriage or just boyfriend, girlfriend, you run into those things. You're gonna butt heads or you're gonna argue about something. It's just working through your differences and things that make you who you are and coming together and working together. We've had fights, we've had headbutts. It hasn't been money or anything like that. It could just be like the stupidest things that are like normal in normal relationships. You meet each other halfway, you talk about it, and you do have to make sacrifices for each other. So maybe if you're like, you know, I'm not like so fond of that, but you do it for the other person. You're supportive and you're encouraging of that other person. I wouldn't want anyone else to irritate me than this person. All right, do you have any tips on how I can stay motivated forever? Okay, let's try that again. Do you have any tips on how I can stay motivated forever? I tend to lose myself afterwards. Good question. The first things first, you guys, if you're doing something with the wrong intentions, you're not gonna stick with it. You're gonna eventually kind of fall back into where you were before. You have to look at long-term of things, because if it's something that you want to do for the rest of your life, it has to become a lifestyle. It has to be something that you can see yourself doing forever. Over the years, my experience I've done competitions, bikini competitions, I've done mini cuts, I've done competition diets, and I've done various different things to always try to morph the way I look. It had to be lean and it had to be defined. You had to find abs, you couldn't have a little fat here or there. I mean, that was like the goal for the longest time. But one thing I learned is it's not sustainable, and it's like you kind of loses that luster. And then if you only depend on that specific look, when you don't have that look anymore, you literally just go depression. You're like, oh my God, I failed, and you just kind of hate yourself for it. What I've learned is you want to focus on, like I said, longevity and long-term. You have to enjoy it, and it shouldn't be something that should be forced or become like a job. Unless you're preparing for a competition or a marathon or something specific like that, it needs to be something that's part of your lifestyle, and you need to love it and you need to enjoy it. And if you don't, you need to change it, do something different. I'm doing this for about 17 years now. You guys, those of you that have followed me from the beginning, you have seen how much my eating, how much just what I do has changed between hobbies and fitness. I'm always pushing myself. I'm always, I'm changing it up, and it's because I'm like, I don't want to do something because it's because I have to do it because it's forced. Because the only way I'm gonna look this way is to do it this way. I found, restrictive diets or doing tons of cardio and only weight training, besides just different adverse health effects that it could have, but it gets boring. I encourage you to change it up, to try new things, to challenge yourself in different ways. Unless you really love like running, unless you really love just lifting weights and doing squats and trying to beat like your PR, your personal record, like how much weight you're pushing, you should just change it up, try different things. That's why I'm trying all these crazy moves where I'm doing, handstand stuff or a single leg jumping and like ninja pretzel moves. I don't know. I'm always trying something because it's amazing what our bodies are capable of if we try, if we push ourselves out of our comfort zone. Obviously, exercise, eating good, the combination of those things, you're gonna get the physique, you're gonna look good. Exercise is exercise, you're gonna be burning calories. I eat not to try to lose weight or try to gain weight or anything. I eat to fuel my body. I eat for health. And I'm training because I'm always wanting to see what I'm capable of. And I love having endurance, and I love having agility and mobility and being flexible. So those are like my goals, that I love like pushing myself beyond what I'm capable of. And same thing with eating habits. I get creative with eating. I still enjoy different foods. I don't restrict myself or say I can't eat that because it's not healthy. I have a balance between everything. And we get stuck in one way is the only way, and that's not true. Try different things, experiment different things. If one thing you're like, that's not for me, try something else. Try something else until you find something where you just are like, yeah, ooh, I really like this. And then that's where the motivation comes from. That's where the excitement comes from, the determination, and then you're gonna wanna keep coming back to doing it. And if you're currently in that situation where you're like, okay, I started and I give up. I started and I give up, and I started and I give up. And you just keep doing this repeated pattern. It's time to stop doing that and do something different. And don't fear change. Don't fear trying something different. Even if you're starting over from the beginning, you should be excited about that. We used to have that innocence that we had when we were a child. We got excited to try something, and then we want to try it, and then we get better, and we kind of had no fear at the time. But now we think too much. We overthink and complicate things way too much in our adult lives. You want to know what keeps me motivated and how I keep going is I love what I do. And if there's something that I don't love, I change it. I stop doing it or take a break from it and come back to it later. And I can tell you that it's never steered me wrong, and it's only served me well. And it's not even just with the gym, it's anything outdoors. There's so many things that we can do out there. We just have to put ourselves out there. When you're enjoying what you're doing, you're gonna be motivated, and the motivation is just gonna keep coming. There will be days that you're tired, and those are days you just rest. You don't quit, you just rest. And then you get back up and you go again. I get tired and I take the day off. I do something else, or I don't do anything at all. Here's another question. Can we be friends?
You wanna be my friend? I'm Jen. Nice to meet ya. Did we just become best friends?
Where did you get your zip-up sports bras?
This one right here?
So all of my zip-up sport bras, did I say that right? That sounds really weird. Sports bra. So all of my zip-up sports bras are from Victoria's Secret. So they are underwire ones. So there's an underwire and like an actual bra inside the zip-up part, and then there's adjustable straps on the back. So I do sometimes put just like a regular sports bra over top for extra push them up into my chin support, because I don't want them flying anywhere. When you got bigger boobies and you got more weight, you want to keep them from flying around. And a tip, ladies, if you do have bigger boobies, or if you have your boobs done like mine, you want to keep them up. Don't let them hang all the time. That's why I keep them smashed into my chest, is because you want them to last a long time and look good for a long time. But even if you have natural boobs or nursing moms, if you just let them hang all the time, you don't give them the support, the skin, the weight's gonna eventually stretch the skin out, and they're just gonna keep going down, down, down. So keep those babies up. But that is where my sports bras are from. That concludes today's Q&A. There was a lot of questions. I won't be able to get to all of them, because otherwise this video would have been 2 days long. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching this video. Like and subscribe, share the video, whatever you guys want to do. See you guys next week. I hope you have a wonderful evening.